Today I thought it'd be really fun for Miranda to teach me how to get a bae because you have so many.
I do have so many baes, you included. So first, my first question is, why are you asking me how you can get a bae if you are already with me?
I want a guy bae too.
You want a guy bae too? Who do you think
A
you
girl
are?
isn't enough.
Okay, it's 2017,
I need
whatever.
my whole bill too.
We all know about this fiasco.
Sex on the first date?
Do you have what?
Sex.
Are you
SEX.
Doing the nasty is only for having babies. So the only
But
reason
I can have
you do
babies
it-
with boys.
You can
I've
have
tried.
babies.
They're not.
But since you can't make a boy pregnant yet, that means you don't have to do the nasty.
But Lord knows the gays try. Bye, sisters.
You are not allowed to do it to me. Only the lady does it to the man.
Oh, but what when there's two men?
Well then, I don't know. I don't think that's a possibility.
I think it is.
There's no holes on a man.
There sure are.
Are they for real?
Oh, kill it, eat it. You're a tiger.
Rumor?
That is tight. It's my fucking asshole.
Oh my, you have a tight ass?
I sure do.
Oh, honey.
Don't beeping watch it.
Say that. Say.
Stop it!
Now what in the mother fuck?
Hey, what is up you guys, it's Dustin and I'm back for another video, and luckily for me I have Paige here to assist me. I have tried to film this video like 3 or 4 times now. It's been issue after issue, but I have a lot of things and a lot of opinions that I want to air out today in this video about Laura and Manny Mua from this podcast that they posted and deleted. You've heard all of my takes, and I'm hoping that this one is going to be the best one. Last one, best one.
Yes, fingers crossed. Let's get into it.
So I'm going to be reacting point by point with this podcast because it has been deleted because they did receive a ton of fuck ton of backlash for this. So let's just do it.
My pit this week is an interesting take on a pit, and you can only, I think, I don't know, it's a me thing, but I still want to talk about it. So, cat's out of the bag. Colleen Ballinger, she's a massive influencer.
Let me prepare myself.
Buckle up. We're so much, I love it.
It's ridiculous.
But she's in hot water. There are a lot of moving parts to her drama, so much.
I have said this probably about 1,000,000 times now, but the fact that Laura and Manny both in this whole podcast acknowledge that there's a lot of moving parts, they say that a lot. They are aware of the seriousness of this, but in my opinion, the fact that they have came for drama channels for years, it makes them trash because they say that we don't even do the research and that we don't get things right. No, because as you'll see as we go through the progression of this, it's just going to get progressively worse with Laura and them. They say how many times we don't know what's going on.
Yeah, 1 billion times.
When literally everything on YouTube has been about this. They admit to seeing this stuff in like Twitter threads and stuff you'll see here in a minute that Laura's going to get into. They didn't take even the smallest amount of time to do any kind of research. There's articles now, there's videos now, there's tweet threads now, and if they've seen it and they didn't engage with it, that means they didn't want to, but they want to talk about it.
No, I mean, don't they reference one of the articles in this video as well?
I'm pretty sure they do.
Reference the Rolling Stone one that came out recently. So if they'd have even taken the time to read through the Rolling Stone article, they would have seen the complexity of this issue. But they just chose not to. They wanted to talk about it, they wanted to capitalize off it, but they actually didn't want to do any work.
Yeah. It is what it is. This is a drama channel, and they've refused to admit that before. A glorified drama channel. And they even deny that they're a drama channel in this too, which is really strange to me because they also had a mutually beneficial relationship with someone in the past named Sam. And you guys already know how I feel about her. If you want to know how I feel about her and you don't, go watch my video where I responded to her. But let's get back into this.
So that I do not fully understand every part of it.
Same.
Any part of it.
And I'm not educated on every part of it.
At all.
Here's my pit.
There's a difference between being uneducated and not having a high education in something. If you know at least a little bit about it, then you're at least a little bit educated, but she knows nothing, and it's clearly apparent.
Yeah.
And here's my problem. me as Laura Lee. What I need to know is why drama channels and people who are just commenters online commenting to me, telling me that I need to speak up about my friend Colleen and asking me why am I being so quiet about my friend Colleen.
Okay, now before we get into this, I did want to show you guys this mug that I got on Hollywood Boulevard yesterday. I love the color of it, and if you know, I used to have a red sriracha shirt, and this is exactly what you think it is, yes.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Let me know down below. But what Mora? I'm calling her Mora. What Mora?
Morally.
Morally
With no moral compass.
Yeah. Did we just do something?
I think we did.
Okay, so what I think that Laura is going to talk about here is there's this tweet thread that I put out the other day. It was before I made my video talking about the people that are closest to Colleen are complicit in her. I put out a tweet thread and I named and referenced Joey Graceffa, Daniel Prada, Manny Mua, who else was it? There was one more person. Well, all the people that were on the Escape Tonight, we all know that Joey Graceffa and all them, like, that's their show. So they are all very familiar and aware of how Colleen is. And it's not too far-fetched for me to think that they knew what she was doing. Because, like, somebody that has that amount of people following her and doing all this, like, apparently they had leaks within those groups all the time. And a lot of these same people still follow, like, Daniel Prada and Joey Graceffa. It was a whole fandom in and of itself, right? Yeah. But I named all these people, and Laura is going to go in and she's going to make the connection pretty much because I said this. Somebody tagged her under my tweet and they were telling her that she needed to speak up on her friend Colleen, where I didn't say that. It wasn't drama channels saying that. That was people under drama channels commenting to you, Laura, because they wanted to know your opinion. And I don't think it's far-fetched for them to want to know your opinion on it, really, because your friend Manny and this collab that he did with her, these collab videos, are honestly some of the sickest shit I've ever seen in my life, because Manny's in a video talking about how he wanted his holes filled and how tight his ass is and all that when the content was made for children. I'm gonna let No More Ali keep going.
Ballinger in my entire life.
No More Ali.
I've never had a conversation with her. I've never collabed with her. I've never worked with her on anything.
She thinks she's
I have
too, look.
lightly watched her from a distance. I thought her Miranda Sings thing was great for what it was. Didn't know that much about it.
Okay, I've said this 3 times now. If you know what Miranda Sings is and you think it was great for what it was, what does that say, Laura?
I want to ask you, what was it?
What was it great for?
What was it? What was the content?
What was
it
the
was
reason?
Great for what it was. What was it? Because from what I can see from my perspective is that Miranda Sings content was always highly inappropriate for children, highly inappropriate for preteens, and exposed them to sexual topics from a very young age. So what was it?
Oh, I mean, go off.
Sorry.
But suddenly, just because another human being is drama, people love to do this thing where they tack my name to them and claim them as my friend when I've never even met this woman before. And not only that, then go to harass me as to why I'm not speaking up on my friend's drama situation. Just because someone's in drama doesn't mean I'm their friend. There was even a list on Twitter of, here's a list of all of Colleen Ballinger's friends who are remaining silent during her scheme.
Sorry, my phone's going off. That was a blast from the past. It's my alarms. Hold on. Resi, I'm leaving that in. You talk shit. Oh, they're really.
You can't never back it out. That was my comment.
Oh my god.
I love how you got that in your alarm sound.
Oh my god. Look.
Scandal. And we're both on the list. But somehow I'm on the list and I've never met
You
her.
get better. I haven't spoke to Colleen in 3 years.
Okay, so Manny does this thing where he distances himself from Colleen numerous times, right? So it's like him repeatedly trying to reinforce that he is not associated with Colleen in any way, even though he has these collabs up that I'm sure he forgot the content of.
Yes.
Which makes him look so bad. So, like, I know that a lot of people are going to see that in this video. Before it's deleted, I have all of it. So I'm going to upload that to the Internet Archive. But let's let them keep going.
I mean, you guys have had a little more interaction. You guys have collab.
Escape the night.
Escape the night. Kind of, had a little bit of the same circle, a little bit.
Sure.
I truly have had no interactions whatsoever, and people just say, "Oh, Laura Lee's been in drama," so automatically anyone who's in drama.
Okay. And I want to talk about this because we have seen Manny and Laura be friends with James Charles for how long now, after how many accusations, and how many accusations with proof. James Charles admitting to the things that he's done. And I just want you guys to know before we get too much further into this, I think that if they can speak about Colleen in this capacity, and James Charles has done the same things, I want to ask the question why they won't speak on James Charles the same way. And I think the only reason and the only explanation for that is because they benefit from their friendship with James Charles in a monetary way.
Yeah, 100%. Because I would go as far as to say the stuff that James Charles has been involved with is, if not the same level, absolutely much worse.
Yes.
Because there's so many different boys who are underage, who were bi-curious, who were not, gay, they were wholly straight, that he had been coercing into, sexual conversation, sexual activity. So, a part of me is just sitting here thinking then, if you have a problem with this and you think that this is wrong and deplorable, even though you don't have all of your facts straight, you know that much, why is that not being applied to your friend? And I feel like it's actually reasonable for us to say that friend James Charles, because James Charles has done just as bad things.
Yep.
Where's the same energy?
That's what blows my mind about all of this. It's all the same people. It all goes together. Joey, Daniel, James, Manny, Gabriel Zamora. They all enable each other.
That's her friend.
Dance, monkey, dance.
That's dance,
That's
monkey,
what they're trying to do to you.
It's dance, monkey, and I'm sick of it. I am sick of it.
You know what we're sick of too? You not disclosing your sponsorships and your ads, Laura. It's never where it's supposed to be. And I think that your friend Sam, that done all this work for all these years, would be so disappointed in you now that she's gone and you're not doing what she preached about for all this time. I think that that's just so sad, and I'm so sick of that.
I remember you telling me that you're doing your live, and people were like, "Are you talking about Colleen? What's going on about your friend Colleen?" And she's like,
"Why is Colleen suddenly my friend?"
So now that she's in drama, why is she my friend now?
Now she's my friend, even though I've never met her before.
Let's keep it 100 for a minute, Manny. We know that you were friends with Colleen when you were getting something from her. It's very clear that you used her up, you got all the subs you could get out of her, and then you went the fuck on just like you did with Patrick. It's not new, it's a pattern, and the fact that you still follow Colleen and she still follows you lets me know that you are somewhat invested in her life. You know at least some of the things that she's been doing. But continue.
And I'm even if I have met her, I don't remember it. I'm 90% sure I've never met her. I've met a lot of YouTubers like VidCon and all the different little ins and outs in passing, but I really don't even think I've ever met her one time.
Yeah.
So Manny, let's hear about your friend Colleen.
The fact that they want to make a joke like this is really they know the seriousness of this, and Laura's trying to throw shade and crack a joke about Colleen. This is so gross.
How did you fucking start with me?
Yeah.
Laura wants to battle tonight.
Yeah.
Laura wants to actually battle.
They want to be cool so
Anytime
bad.
anyone is successful, I automatically don't know them. But if they're in hot water by any means, suddenly I was their best friend and held their hand through the journey. And I'm like, why do y'all do that to me? Why do people do that to me?
I don't know if it's because you've been drama in the past, or are you guys mutuals? Do you guys follow each other?
I don't think so.
So then that's why I'm I can't even imagine why. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Honestly, the situation going on, it's so...
Now, I do want to say, we all know that Laura is close with Joey Graceffa because Manny is. Why wouldn't she know Colleen?
I mean, I think it's a little bit presumptuous to think that she's friends with somebody because she has any kind of proximity to them. I just think it's not unreasonable for people to ask.
Yeah, no,
That's
I agree.
all.
That's fair.
Many moving parts, you were saying,
moving parts.
I don't even know truly like what to say about it because
You don't even know anything about it to say. You don't know anything about it. You could have just said that, and that would have been a lot less like damaging to your career and your channel and your credibility if you would have just said, "Hey, I don't know a lot about this."
Maybe just don't talk about it.
Yeah, maybe
instead
not
of
talk about
like,
it.
you know, I don't know a lot about this and trying to antiquate why. How about just don't fucking talk about it? If you don't know, don't talk. It really is that simple.
Yeah, that's true. And it's fine if people ask you, if you say, I don't want to comment on it. I mean, it's not what I want to hear, but I can respect that a lot more than just not saying anything at all.
If he was to come over and go online and say, listen, Colleen Ballinger is my friend, and because she is my friend, I need to have this conversation with my friend first before coming out onto the internet. I would respect that tactic more, because I'd be like, okay, well, that's his friend. If he needs to talk to his friend first before having any kind of public statement, good, fine. I'm open to that.
That's fair.
at the end of the day, the thing that happened with Adam, this was years ago, right? Colleen talked about that. She made a video about it and she apologized, I believe. And she handled the whole situation. Now
I don't like how he's framed this, because with him saying it that way, anybody watching this that has not been aware or know what's going on, they're going to think because they trust Manny that what he's saying is 100% the truth, when it's just not, because what Colleen did was manipulate millions of people.
Yeah, and here's the thing is that the way that he's framed it is this happened several years ago. They already apologized. Everything's so past tense that we're not actually putting in now several dozen individuals who have come forward with their stories of Colleen Ballinger, the interviews that have taken place by major publications, as well as by people like myself, as well as Adam McIntyre, speaking to members of the group chat. So much has taken place, and so much is active and present now, that when you speak about it and frame it in a past tense way, it's almost like we're supposed to forget about it. If I was to take that on face value, I'd find out that something was said with Adam McIntyre that was, probably wrong. Colleen already apologized for it. So then me as a viewer, I'd be like, well, why are we fucking talking about
why are
this?
we
Who
here?
cares?
Yep.
it's getting rehashed and brought back up in different, there's more layers to it, there's more people involved with it,
there's more
different things
information
going on. But I'm confused at what about that situation has changed now.
Everything.
It's the same situation.
So
it's not the same fucking situation. There's so much more that
it's
is
a different situation.
It's a whole new situation. It was amplified by the original situation. So imagine you're living in your house and your house got burgled. Yeah, and then 2 weeks later your house gets burgled again. They're gonna say there's something that's connecting these two burglaries. How is one person getting burgled twice? Now it becomes a bigger situation. Situation B made people more aware of situation A, and now situation A and situation B belong together. It really isn't that hard, goddamn.
No, I mean, that's a very
genuinely, I'm just confused about that. I'm like, okay, so now is it just now that there's more people coming out about stories?
I did see some people say, well, she started a podcast with Trisha, but I'm like, what does that have to do
with this? That's what I'm saying. I'm confused. At the end of the day, the messages, they're strange.
They are strange.
They're very...
Okay, so here's the part where I want to talk about James Charles, because if they can say all of this about Colleen and the same thing can be applied to James Charles, why aren't they speaking on James Charles? Why? There's 14 people now. 14
that can be qualified, that have verified proof of say James Charles nudes or text messages.
If they can say all of this about her, why can't they turn that mirror on James? And if they would admit that he's their friend and that's why, I would respect it. I would still think that they're pieces of shit, but it's just not the same. It's not equal. They're not treating shit the same because it's a bias.
Because here's the thing though, if they take a stance at this point, because I don't know how this is about to go, but if they take a stance at this point that what Colleen Ballinger has done is so deplorable and they cannot support her or anything it is that she's involved with from this point forward, I need them to hold that same energy for James Charles.
Period, yes.
Because Manny Mua's craven fucking ass, sorry I'm swearing so much, craven ass decided that he was going to do collaborations with James Charles, not just just after the whole shenanigan, but during the goddamn pandemic, when people couldn't even share spaces with each other, y'all were going to each other's homes to do collaborations with a person who is a admitted P-word.
Yeah.
He said that. He said he was desperate, and that's why he did those deplorable things. And you still, in the middle of the pandemic, sat down and collaborated with said person because you wanted to suck the attention. Sorry, that's me dumb.
No,
Piss me off.
I agree. It's always, Manny takes whatever he can get out of people in the situation. Like, look what he did to Patrick. We don't have to rehash that. That was ages ago. But he treated him shitty. He got all the followers he could from him. He did the same thing with Jeffrey. And now, like, he's not really seen much with James anymore. But I guess if the moment that James Charles picked back up, Manny would be right there to, like, capitalize on that. It's a repeated pattern.
They're weird.
They're very weird.
I'm not gonna lie. So I can just look at those and be like, I'm gonna defend her. Like, a lot of the messages are weird. You know, that's just truly what the tea is. Like, I look at those messages and I'm like,
this isn't tea.
That's not appropriate to say. Like, very strange. But when you're thinking about it, like, I was thinking.
I'm sorry. Let's talk about appropriate things to say to children characters. He's like, that's not a very appropriate thing. That's what I was thinking about when you were talking about needing your holes filled to Miranda sings. That's what I was thinking. That's not really very appropriate.
Sorry what you did there.
And the way, like, maybe the parasocial relationship got to a different level with her, and I think that as a creator, maybe there was just like some confusion, and you know, maybe she really thought she was friends with these people and all these things. Like, it.
You mean like how Sam thought you were friends with her? I know about the Morphe launch party, Manny. Like, you don't have to keep that secret anymore.
Who become your friends, but they're not.
It's a power imbalance.
It's a power imbalance.
It's a power imbalance.
It's weird.
Have I seen every message? I have not.
Well, I know that there's one that you could have seen that would have changed your mind, or at least I would have hoped would have changed your mind. The messages where Colleen is asking Adam what his favorite sexual position is gross. It would have taken one message, Laura, just one, and I'm sure that would have been one that she would have seen, because that is a big one that everybody is tweeting about.
Yeah, that's being distributed around a lot.
So, I've never seen people in my life talk so much without saying anything.
Same.
I'm not looking in to see every single message, because the little glimpses of what I've seen of it is weird to me, and it does seem inappropriate.
For sure.
Also, just anytime a 30-year-old's...
Why are you doing this? If you're not even going to read the messages, I don't want to see the messages. Okay, well, I don't think these minors wanted to be discussing these sexualized topics. Well, like, why are you platforming this information if you can't even look into the information you're platforming?
I agree. Or vetting it.
You just
the smallest amount.
You could have just looked into it. It would have taken you a few minutes to look into it. It's so annoying.
It's quick money. That's what it is. That's what they used to drag us for talking about them, and we would get it wrong. But, like, it only matters if people get things wrong if it's about them.
The culture in 2019 was that, like, every drama channel, if there was some drama going on, day or night, we would pack up our stuff, put our camera on, and we'd start filming. Yeah. The culture has since changed, but the point is that did make it for a long while, like, admittedly, very sloppy reporting by a lot of the drama channels. Not just a few, there was a lot of us who were doing sloppy, quote-unquote, journalism. Yeah. But the point is that they don't want to be drama channels, they want to be different. They want to be able to commentate, but not ever face any of the repercussions of having to stand next to your word. Yep. So the problem that I'm finding here is that the same things that they had an issue with us for, granted, sometimes we did get information wrong. Yeah. The things they wanted us to move on from, grow from, elevate from, are the same things that they're struggling to even conceptualize now.
Yep. You just preached, girl. You took me to church.
I'm stoned and I'm talking.
You got me together. That points were made.
Texting young people that are underage.
Like James Charles.
There's a power imbalance there,
like
especially
James
whenever
Charles.
Like, she's calling back.
You are friends with James Charles, Laura. You
that
are.
Much we know.
That can be proven.
Ballinger, Miranda sings, and then they're so young, and they're fans, specifically like fans of Colleen, and they know who she is online. That also creates a double power imbalance there. So
we talked about that with James Charles.
It is. It's an inappropriate situation.
It's an inappropriate, strange situation, and it's like I
don't think that they realize what they did with this podcast, and that's why they took it down. I don't think it's the content of it. I think it's what they're saying about this, because this argument can be used so, like, as such a defense against them being friends with James Charles and not speaking out, you know?
For me, this is giving me very much, they want to keep the door open. Almost as if they're not sure how the situation is going to, like, play out publicly, or if, you know, Colleen Ballinger is going to have any real, you know, consequences. So because of that, I feel like what I'm hearing is two people trying to leave the door kind of ajar, just in case things work out for Colleen. That's what I'm getting. Yeah. So they can say, oh, we reported on it, but we didn't really say anything. You know what I mean?
I have collabed with Colleen. I have known Colleen. We're not, like, you know, good friends. I haven't spoke to her in years.
When's the last time you guys spoke?
Years ago.
That edit kills me, because Laura really thought she ate, because she's like, when was the last time you spoke? And then it flashes to Manny, and he's like, it's 3 years. Well, if you think about it, if it's been 3 years, it's 2020 in that time period, right? That would mean that would have been at the height of this, would it not? Because 2020 is when everything happened, and then Cody ended up getting exposed in 2023, and now here we are. So that would mean that he was, like, associated and friends with her at this time.
Yeah, throughout that period.
It would be interesting to go back and see if Manny actually defended her, like, on Twitter. He might have.
I don't remember it.
I don't remember much from that time period either, but, like, that right there, 3 years, just let that marinade.
I haven't spoken to Colleen in years, actively years. So, for me, people tag me in things and they're like, oh, you're bestie Colleen. I'm like, babe, I haven't spoken to Colleen in years. Like, we're not close. I do care about her as a person, you know, on a human level. You know, I hope that she's doing okay. And
why?
In this situation, like, I do feel like because she has spoken about it and she's apologized for it, I'm just confused as to why it's been brought back.
Here's the problem, and this is why we're still talking about Manny Mua and Laura Lee all these years later. They have apologized, and I'll give grace to Laura, because I do think she learned from that whole experience. She went through a lot. Like, how would she not? But, like, Manny is so wrong. You do not apologize and move on. It's not just I say I'm sorry, and sorry, my eyelash. There's something going on here. You don't just apologize and then you're like, the situation is over. Like, you have to show growth. You have to show that you have learned from that situation and those mistakes that you made that you had to apologize for. It's not just that cut and dry. You don't get to move on just because you sat down and you put a notepad apology out and say you're sorry, or you sit down with the great hoodie on and say, I'm sorry, I fucked up. It's not that. You have to show some kind of growth. So that, by definition, what Manny is saying is fucking wrong.
Back up.
It's like the same situation. Like, are there new developments in it?
Yes.
I think there's, like, more people have come out, like, to talk about those messages.
Got it.
I think that maybe back in the day, Adam was getting shit on for it.
That's what I didn't understand. Now, why was Adam getting shit for it whenever he had shown?
And he shared what had happened.
I don't know what all.
So this lets me know that they knew enough about this that he showed Colleen in a bad light, but they're still not just wanting to disassociate from her. Like, they're still,
and then also not giving, like, because they've obviously done surface level research on this, right? They're also not giving any details. Like, when it comes to Madam McIntyre, he received underwear as a minor around the age of 14 from a woman who was in her 30s.
Yep. Well, James Charles sent out, like, nude pics to minors and received them allegedly. So, I mean,
was said between him and her and Adam.
Me neither. No, he was just basically saying, like, you know what? This was inappropriate.
Okay.
This relationship in general was inappropriate. It's not cool. He spoke his piece, and I think a lot of people were not on his side about it.
Got it.
That was the situation. And now that there's more people coming to light about it, a lot of people are like, I'm apologizing to Adam. You know, Adam, like, deserves more.
If they could have done that, because I want to go back and look, because I'm pretty sure that Manny would have defended her. Because if James was, why wouldn't Manny? And if he's not, I apologize. I'm wrong. But I don't know how he's saying all this, like, and so, like, matter-of-factly, too. Like, with his whole chest.
Okay.
And so I understand, like, on Adam's side of it, too, I'm like, dude, like, that is weird.
Yeah.
You know, being, like, underage and stuff like that. But because
James Charles.
I do know Colleen in some capacity, I do care about her.
I'm sorry. I just thought about Ethan Klein, and I don't care for that man much, but when he said that every room with James Charles is an escape room, that was funny and iconic.
human way and like a human level, and I want her to be okay. And I think that this is something where like she can address it again.
That's fucking funny.
You know, I do, and I think that when you are put into situations like this that get brought back up for something in the past, this is kind of something that you would apologize for again.
Yeah.
Or maybe just not do that thing ever to have to apologize for it, but whatever.
No, I think it's fair to say that we're all sitting here waiting for her to at least acknowledge something. I don't know whether you saw
is the cutest.
I don't know whether you saw on social media. I got a link to it from Reddit, so I'll send it to you if you haven't seen it. It's of Colleen Ballinger at one of her most recent shows getting a standing ovation from the audience, and she started crying and all of that kind of stuff. I don't know where I was going with that point, but that's all I have to say. I was going somewhere, girl.
There's situations that happen, and if it gets brought back up and new developments, like, you know, I think it's one of those things where you swallow your pride.
Yeah.
And you be like, you know what? It wasn't appropriate. I fucked up, and I'm sorry for it.
The way this is edited, the way it's going back and forth,
and understand where you were coming from, we'll move on with you.
And then it has to be what it is.
And it has to be what it is. Like, at the end of the day, like, she's not going to just crawl into a hole and never upload again and never do anything.
well, I mean, she's not addressing it. That's the equivalent to me in my mind.
She has to do something about it, but I just don't know when it's going to happen. I genuinely thought it was going to happen yesterday.
I thought it would too, but she's going to have to do something soon, because the longer that this goes on,
the bottom line is being affected. Every single one of her sponsors are being contacted at mass. People are now trying to get her Netflix show taken down in a petition, change.org.
Have you watched that?
I haven't seen the show, but I did see the live show. I watched the live show.
I saw part of it. There was a scene where there's like some cinnamon buns and like the...
Oh, yes, I saw that.
And he like squirts it, and it's like very like sexually driven.
when my buns are all sticky.
It's very weird. This should have never... I don't, like, at this point, like, I wonder if YouTube's going to get involved, because I feel like that's really not something that should be on the platform.
I don't think that YouTube are going to get involved, because there's been other stuff that's been taking place on the platforms that YouTube haven't been involved in. The most that'll ever happen with stuff like this, specifically, especially when it's one of their highest earning, you know, content creators within like the top 5% of YouTube. When it's creators like that, YouTube just tends to, you know, demonetize them for a short period. So I think in terms of action that YouTube might take, that is the closest, but I don't even think that's going to happen.
They probably won't.
I think they're just going to let this play out on social media, and until it starts affecting their sponsors and their bottom line, then that's when it's going to become a problem.
You're probably right.
Again, she has to move forward in some capacity.
Yeah.
So I think that the best move, in my opinion, would be to, you know, acknowledge what happened. Speak about it. But you know what? It was a shitty situation. I have talked about it before, but I will say it again.
It's not just a shitty situation, though.
Yeah.
And I'm moving forward, and I hope that, and this will never happen again.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's the only really thing that...
So you're telling me that this woman can literally do a decades-long worth of trauma to minors, and we're supposed to just sit there, listen to an apology, say, I'm never going to do it again, and then move forward?
That's what Manny just said, because he thinks that when you apologize for something, that it's just wiped away, it's just washed away. But we've seen the grudges that Manny holds against people. So, I mean, how is it that, like, there's been so many people that apologize to Manny? I'm not having that conversation right now, but let's get back into
this. Can be done. I'm not exactly sure, because I don't know the ins and outs of everything, because I do feel like there's developments that happen like literally every day.
I know, it's like hard to like speak on, because my God,
I don't know. Messages pop out, and I'm like, okay, are these real messages? Are they doctored? Like, is it
the fact that he even put this in there? It shows that. Okay, one, the connotation with drama channels, because Adam is a drama channel, and he's the one that revealed all this stuff. So to me, that's him questioning
the legitimacy.
Yes, and that's also giving an out to Colleen. Who's to say she couldn't have watched this and be like, you know what, that's a really good angle. Thank you, Manny. I'm going to do that. You know, like this has done a lot of damage to the people that have seen this and do not know what is actually going on. So they just take Manny and what Laura are saying at their face value when they shouldn't, because they're so ill-informed.
Yeah.
It's just like one bad apple really truly does spoil the bunch, because it's just like one person adds to it and then another person adds to it, and by the time it gets back to other
I
people.
mean, even if we were to relate this to the James Charles situation, if it wasn't for Deaf Noodles getting so many of the stories incorrect, so many of the stories which were faked and all of that kind of stuff, if he wasn't amplifying those stories, I don't believe that James Charles would have been able to move forward in the way that he has. So we all know that how misreporting these very like delicate and complex situations can really just completely throw the whole case altogether.
And I think that's by plan and that's by strategy.
Do you really?
I really do.
What part's real? A part is, you know,
And then
exaggerated.
I also saw some kids from the Miranda Sings tour speaking up, being pulled up on stage, and they felt like situations were inappropriate.
If they know all of that,
there's honestly a lot
why
of
couldn't
moving
they
parts
just be
to the
like,
Colleen
we do not
Ballinger,
condone that?
Miranda Sings drama.
Why are we wishing Colleen well? Like, a hard opinion would have been so, like, good for them. People would have respected a hard opinion, but here, it's just like...
It could have been Laura Lee coming in saying, I don't really know this girl at all, so I'm not involved in this situation. Just letting you guys know that from the jump because I have no relationship with her. And Manny saying, listen, this girl's my friend. I need to go and speak to my friend first and find out what it is that they have to say to me before I even say anything on this situation. They could have done that on Twitter and not made a video. But no, they saw the drama channels making content. They saw how many views that people were getting off this situation. They knew by proxy of this that they were going to gain attention.
Yeah. And they wanted to capitalize on that. If you're going to capitalize on something and you're going to talk about it, the least you could do is have enough respect for the people you're going to talk about. You could be informed about what you're going to talk about. And these people have sat here in this podcast at least probably 3 times now and said that they don't know what's going on. Then why are you talking about it?
And don't talk.
There are so many moving parts that, just to be transparent, with me and Manny speaking, we do not know everything. We don't.
Anything.
We don't know everything.
Anything. Again, like I was saying, I haven't spoken to Colleen in years. Laura's, I don't even think I ever even met Colleen. So I think a lot of people, that, because I've done collabs with her in the past, they want to loop me in to be like, oh, well, you know, Manny's her bestie.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
we're not just going to slide past that. That collab is bad, Manny. Like, I think that if Manny knew that that was still live on his channel and he knew what the content was of that he would delete that.
I need my whole field too. Just kidding.
Do you have what?
Sex.
Are you
SEX.
kidding me? But since you can't make a boy pregnant yet, that means you don't have to do the nasty.
But Lord knows the gays try.
Because it does not look good given that you're literally making sexualized jokes to children. Children. Just, yeah.
like, babe, like I can't say that I am. Like, we've been acquaintances, we've been friends in the past. We just haven't spoken in a long time.
Sometimes I feel like commenters, because it's not everybody, it's just certain commenters like to pull in other influencers to all.
Does she mean commentators, or is she saying like people in the comments?
I need her because she goes on to talk about drama channels and commenters. So I don't know if she meant somebody that
comments.
She needs to clarify that, because what Laura's going to talk about here is, I did put out a tweet and I named all these people: Daniel Prada, Joey Graceffa, all the people that have been friends with Colleen and that are still friends with Colleen. Daniel. I made a post and Laura follows me on Twitter, and I'm assuming what she's talking about is where someone tagged her under that. Laura, if you don't like people talking about you, perhaps don't get in shit with people, 1. But 2, don't follow fucking drama channels. You hate us so much. You have so much to say about how we're horrible people and we don't do the bare minimum of research. Well, if what we do isn't the bare minimum, what is this?
Nothing.
What is this?
The different dramas that are happening.
What is
to kind
this,
of ignite it more.
To light up the fire.
To light up the fire. So they want to get everybody pulled into it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And sometimes people's behavior is their choices and they don't reflect on every single person. So
and that, like, this is about kids, and 99.9% of the time I would never ever suggest somebody speak about their friends publicly, but when it involves serious shit like this, like grooming allegations and what Trent Ballinger did and all of that, like, I don't care if I'm friends with somebody or not. Like, Paige, I love you to death, but if something came out about you, it would be over for us, you know? And I would hope that you would be the same way with me.
100%.
Like, this is just them skating past this and downplaying the seriousness of this situation to me. And if they will do this in this situation, who's to say if somebody gets exposed that is like James Charles, or even if James Charles had a situation like this come up again, like, how would Laura feel about it then? Because she's so vocal about Colleen.
We're not talking about somebody saying the N-word like 5-10 years ago and have never said it since or something like that. We're not talking about things that really don't have a huge level of traumatic effect on people as individuals. We're talking about a whole web of network with children for over a decade where you have exposed them to sexually explicit content and conversations. These are two completely different ballparks. They're not even, one's a basketball court and the other one is a tennis court. We're not even in the same place.
No, not even remotely close.
It's their job to speak on it. It's Colleen's job to speak on this one.
Exactly. And the thing is, like, as we said, we don't know every ins and outs and all the situations, all the conversations that we're having.
You don't know anything,
so
though,
many things are involved that I'm like, damn, everything just keeps getting pulled in and I don't even know what is going on.
And I would understand.
So then shut up! Shut up! Goodness gracious! I don't even know what's going on. Then leave!
I'm gonna make you guys take a drink every time they say I don't know.
Like, for you not to know, like you said it so many times, then maybe you didn't have to upload this podcast. You didn't have to sit down and hit record. This is basically 10 minutes to 15 minutes of them saying, I don't know, but I don't know, but like Colleen's a good person. Like, how is her feelings? Like, fuck Colleen.
Like, listen, like, if this was happening to someone that I hung out with for the past 10 years every single day, sure, I would investigate further.
James Charles.
And I finally came to a conclusion. It sucks and it is ridiculously embarrassing to admit this, but I think I have to, and that is that I'm desperate.
James Charles.
I've never met this person before, so I don't understand why
you're getting pulled in.
Why I am getting pulled in, and my assumption is because...
You know what happens when you assume things, Laura? You make an ass out of you and me, but I don't think you understand that either, because you can't even do the bare minimum of going to fucking Google, and that's who pays your fucking bills.
I've been in drama in the past, so people automatically just go, oh, someone else is in trouble. She was best friends with them. Like, what?
Right. I also think that because we have full coverage, people like have this.
And honestly, full coverage was the perfect name for this. Who knew that? Like,
we cover anything.
Yeah, like these two fools have covered this thing and admitted that they know nothing, and people actually defended them on it. Like, we live in the fucking Twilight Zone.
They say your friend. That's my problem.
That's weird.
When people say speak on Colleen, that's coming from full fam. That's different. That's
full
different.
Fam.
When
Imagine having your audience and calling them the full fam. They're basically calling their audience members fools. And y'all want to come for me because I called my people social climbers. It was literally an inside joke.
Say, why aren't you speaking up about your friend Colleen?
Pit.
That's my issue.
That's the pit.
That's the pit. That's the issue there.
Because you're like, what friend Colleen?
They say pit. I don't know what the pit means, but automatically my mind goes to James Charles and him wanting like underage kids like armpit pics.
Oh, you're telling me I need to speak up on someone that I supported when in fact
James Charles.
Yeah.
To be had. Exactly. So I understand like people, coming from the full fan perspective, like talking
maybe
about
it's such like
in the world because that's
the Valley Girl
coverage. So I understand that. But it is something where it's like it is such a touchy subject too that whenever it comes to like something like this or this power imbalance or these like underage kids, like it gets so.
I'm gonna edit this and I'm gonna put James Charles there because if you could. Interchangeable, like
just every single time it comes up, just put hi sisters, like every single time. Because I feel like they're not hearing it.
Like if I edited a video this way, I could literally make it look like Manny was talking about James Charles.
Yeah.
So this makes Manny out of everyone look terrible.
Yeah.
Awful.
Spooky.
It does.
It gets very intense, and I even You know, we do rapid fires because for us, like, we'll take a morsel of something.
You don't take a morsel of anything. You took a molecule. You knew that Adam was the center of all of this and what was going on right now, and you knew that it was a big fucking deal. You didn't take a morsel because a morsel would have given you more information. You took a fucking molecule.
Why did he say spooky?
I don't know.
Like Colleen Ballinger's the boogeyman or something.
She looks like the boogeyman.
A little bit and move on quickly.
Yeah.
We're not doing deep dives on one topic
Sleep
for the whole time.
paralysis demon.
Because we do not want to get that deep on anything like that. Because again, we live our own lives, we do our own things. Like, what we hear is what we see is what we're...
All I'm hearing, because the fact that they've proven that they don't look into what they're talking about, is they don't want to, and they're saying that they don't want to take the time to be familiarized with what they're saying. They don't want to take the time to know what it is that they're speaking on. They're okay with just basically saying whatever to get a view and get a fucking paycheck.
They want the liberty to be able to speak about things and to speak about controversial topics without being held accountable for the words it is that they're saying.
Could you imagine if we sat down and just like on a whim made a video and didn't know nothing?
Yeah.
Nothing. We would get dragged from here to fucking hell. There would be videos made about us. We'd be the most awful fucking people, and it would probably be about these people because they would say that we get it wrong. Mm-hmm. Like, y'all need to do better.
We're going to talk on. We're not going to do this like crazy deep dive on every situation all the time because...
Or at all, girl.
Yeah,
at all.
Exactly.
Just genuinely we don't. And like, I don't want to talk about...
I don't want to either and make that like my life. Like, we are not a drama channel.
Right.
Yes, the fuck you are. You upload a podcast every single week about drama. You are a drama channel.
Just because you sit down and you have fancy equipment doesn't make it any less of a drama channel. I would consider Jessie Smiles and her colleague who do their podcast a drama channel now. Yeah. Do you get what I mean? Just because you're still speaking about hot topics. Mm-hmm. You're still a blogger. You're still a drama channel. You're still the same as all of us. The difference is that you don't want to be held accountable, and we're willing to be held accountable and stand next to our word. That's the only difference.
That's it.
Want to talk about...
We touch on hot topics that are going on, and you guys totally get that.
Manny's a slime ball.
That, and you guys love that. And like, if this was deep diving on like horrible situations, I probably wouldn't
never
do
it
because our lives, that's not what we talk about whenever we're hanging out.
Can you imagine having a situation that is so fucking complex and being me, I, self, our lives, and we're not, and our people, and you know, we just do our lives, we're going through our things every day.
We're too busy.
And we don't really want to deep dive on this situation because, you know, we've got things going on because we're like, who gives a fuck about you? No, genuinely, who gives a fuck about them? Because at the end of the day, there are literally numerous people, minors, or people who were minors at the time of these interactions, who are having to deal with the trauma of this every single day. Every single day. They're sitting there thinking, I'm speaking to victims who've said to me that they have blamed themselves for certain situations, feeling that the advice it is that they were giving Colleen in their personal private conversations may have had a detriment to her real life, and them feeling guilty over those situations as minors. We're not talking about inappropriate. Inappropriate would be you said a joke that was inappropriate, kind of like the jokes that you were making, Manny, when you were talking about her creaming inside of your goddamn hole.
I need my hole filled too.
Right? But those are jokes. Those are inappropriate jokes. Those are things that I think that you have the potential to move on from. But let's not downplay the situations that these people have been through that they can't move on from. Let them have their retribution in the way that they should.
Period.
Sorry, that really pissed me off.
Ooh. The mother in you came out.
Like, I don't want to put my energy, my mindset into digging into deep drama.
Well, then you don't need to talk about it.
That's why I'm saying, like, I've seen like these little...
And clearly they're giving away how the algorithm works. If this is all on their timeline, you know why? It's because you indulge in it. They were saying that with all these people on TikTok. Mm-hmm.
The algorithm is talking to you, and if you're choosing not to read what the algorithm is putting down, then you sure as hell should not be making a video about it.
clips and little this, little that, and like obviously I've seen it. Hell, I've been tagged in it as my friend, and so I've seen like tidbits, but also like I'm not educated enough on the subject.
You're not. No, there's a difference between being educated enough and not being educated at all. And Laura, you're not educated at all. We already knew that from the beginning, but we just need to make sure that people understand the difference right here and right now, because what you think it is and what it actually is are two different things.
To really go and deep dive and, you know, go through every in and out of it.
And honestly, like we neither of us have the capacity or want.
Yeah,
or want.
So why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?
What was the reason?
This is such a disservice to everybody who's involved. Why are you doing this? So you sat down with your large platforms, 3 million one side, another 4 million on the other side, to sit down and make a podcast using your both combined fame and celebrity to talk about something that you have absolutely no understanding of, don't wish to learn, don't care to learn, and then still just talk about it as if it's trivial and something that can be moved past.
Yeah.
Well, like, why do this? This is such a misuse of your popularity.
It is. And you know what? It's almost like it's weaponized incompetence.
I want to do that. Like, I want to talk about a subject really quickly. That's why it's called a rapid fire. I want to talk about something quickly that we've seen, what we've absorbed, push it out, and keep it moving.
And I also am like, why don't you hold the people accountable who's actually in the drama, not their friends? You know what I mean? Like, what does that do?
They want to talk about parasocial relationships, and they had their own. Look no farther than here for the tea.
Also, like, it is very confusing because, like you were saying with that thing, like, people might know people. People might know, like, have friends of people and things like that, but you don't know everything about everyone all the time. Like, for example, like, let's say I have a friend who's in the space and they do something crazy. I'm like, babe, I didn't know anything about that. You have a whole different life. I know what we experienced together. That's all I'm going to know, and that's all my experience is going to be.
Right.
I'm only going to know enough that you let me in on.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be able to be like, oh, well, I know everything about you.
Or you educate yourself, or you pay attention to what's going on around you.
Like, I know a lot about you because you're my bestie. We talk every day.
Yeah, that's different.
But any other friend I have, they have their own lives going on.
Like, if you got in drama, I'd do a full dedicated YouTube video about it.
Well, then why won't you do one against James Charles? And Manny, the same thing for you.
And why Manny scares me. And why Manny is spooky. No, but, like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
you know,
I would defend you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, because I know you.
They all defend one another. This is not new.
Yeah.
So what am I supposed to say?
Right.
I'm not going to blindly defend anyone either.
No. Absolutely.
Hi, sisters.
Girl,
you gotta say more?
Absolutely not. It's like, I don't have a comment.
I just don't have a comment.
I think the behavior was inappropriate,
It's weird and inappropriate.
and I think a lot of things were weird that was happening, and I think it needs to be spoken about for the person that's being accused of it, but everybody else, like, truly doesn't have anything to do with it.
Right.
You know?
So it's inappropriate.
Okay, I don't know if they've ever talked about Epstein, but that was a very clear case of how one person connected to another person, took down a whole fucking ring of people.
Yep.
So don't give me that bullshit. Nobody needs to speak out, just the person that was fucking involved, Laura.
Okay, we've all seen that. You have to be literally blind to not think that it's inappropriate messaging. Mm-hmm. They should address it and move on. And that's it.
That's so fucking irritating to me.
And that's that.
And that's the end of that because they moved on. Laura, do better, girl. Like, I have rooted for you because I feel like you've had some change, and I feel like you did work on yourself. But I am truly beginning to believe what Jeffree Star said about him and her being an evil soul and being an evil bitch is true.
Lord.
I am. I really am, because, like, the way that she vehemently denied being friends with Colleen, she had that much energy for it when it would have been the same amount of energy for her to go and look this up about Adam.
Yeah.
I have zero respect for somebody that wants to do something like that.
Yeah.
They are literally enabling Colleen by not speaking up. And even her now, like, she doesn't have to be in any proximity to Colleen to speak on a really horrible situation that Colleen is involved in as another YouTuber.
But she could also choose just not to speak about the situation.
Yeah.
Like, there is literally volumes in silence. distance. So if this has nothing to do with her, Colleen is not her friend. Yeah, there's a few people saying that you're friends. Maybe you could qualify on Twitter. We're not friends. I don't know that girl. I've never spoke with her. I don't have her phone number. Like, I really don't know, sis. So y'all can have at it. She could have just said that on Twitter to make it clear and kept it pushing. Manny could have chosen not to talk about it at all because it honestly, personally, PR-wise, would have been more beneficial. But the pair of them are talking about the situation, minimizing the situation, and then not even seeing the hypocrisy with their current friendships with James Charles.
Exactly.
And it's just, it's disgusting the way that they've handled this, honestly.
It's a sad state of affairs.
It was more so about them separating themselves from Colleen Ballinger and the situation whilst keeping the door open just in case Colleen Ballinger is able to skate through this situation. Yeah. It was more about making their stance clear, but at the same time making it very, very unclear for everybody else.
There is no room. There's not really a place in my mind that you could pick a middle ground with this. Like, you have to have a hard opinion on this. And Manny and Laura just simply missed the mark with this because when it comes to kids, I think we all know what's really most important. Your friendship or your reputation in regards to that person that you'd be speaking on, why would you care if she didn't like you after you spoke about her because what she is?
And I think it goes beyond everything, like in a sense of, like, as adults, I feel like every single adult has a responsibility to protect the safety of vulnerable people, especially minors.
Period.
And if every single adult isn't doing their due diligence to make sure that they are doing right by minors, even if that's what they vocalize and what it is that they say, then they themselves don't give a fuck about it.
Period.
So as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to like Manny and Laura, they did a terrible, terrible job at this. And at the very least, they should at least publicly say, because I know they've taken down this podcast now, they should at least say, we missed the mark and we will be addressing it later, or we missed the mark and we don't think that it's important that we speak on this situation.
Editing Dustin from the future here. I'm back home now and I'm editing this video. I haven't even taken a shower yet. I'm going to do that after I render this. But I was going to get into talking about how Manny copyright strike T-Spill because his feelings got hurt and took it down. I was going to talk about that because Manny has a track record of like doing this type of shit and like trying to silence people. And I felt like that's what he was doing in this moment. My camera overheated and it didn't catch the end of this. I tried to film this video literally like 3 times. But I hope you guys get the gist of everything that Paige and I were saying in this video. Like, there's no reason why Manny and Laura should have sat down and filmed this video if they weren't going to comment or anything. The only thing that they really said about all of this is, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. And it was very much giving that they just wanted to talk about this because it was a hot topic. And that is absolutely the wrong way to go about things. And I think that they know that. They know that. But you guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. I do apologize for the quality of audio in this video because, like, I was having so many issues. I don't know if it was my camera or what, but the next one will be fine. But you guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I really enjoyed my time with Paige and Jen in California. It was so nice. I had an excellent time. It was a really, really refreshing trip. So you guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. I'm gonna go shower and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.